Hello, welcome to this week's podcast. My name is Paul Martin. Yes, I know I'm not Neil Durling, who normally does this, but don't switch off because we don't really know each other yet, and maybe we'll quite like each other if you hang about. September's been quite an interesting month, wasn't it, in our nation's history? It started off with the revelation of who our new Prime Minister would be, and then we had the sad news of the passing of our Queen of over 70 years and all the lying in state and the ceremonial that followed that. And then the month ends with the economic news that the markets are reacting badly to what our Chancellor has said, and the pound is dropping, and we began to be told that we're facing some difficult times ahead. And now here we are into October, and we're looking at a month when fuel prices have gone up, when COVID apparently is on the increase again, and we still have that war in Ukraine. It could be quite depressing, couldn't it? But I'd like to take you with me, introduce you to one or two people that I've come across in the last few days. First one is, well, we'll call him Ahmed. That's not his real name, but he lives in Albania, and he wanted to come to England. So he borrowed a lot of money from people in his community and managed to pay enough to find his passage to the UK. But unfortunately, he didn't make it across the channel, and he had to return to his community eventually back in Albania, about £15,000 worse off, which is a lot of money in their community, and having to face people that he'd borrowed that money from. So it was being difficult for him to re-enter his community again, and perhaps he's the rejection and the hurt that's with that. Let me also introduce you to Jackie. That, again, not her real name, but she lives in Brussels, and she found that she'd been trafficked from the Far East to Brussels, not for the bright lights and the nice life that she thought and had been promised, but actually into the sex trade, where she would be used as a prostitute and expected to service a number of people each day. And she found herself in abusive relationships, and yet there seemed no way out. But then she came across someone who had started an organisation there to helping people just like Jackie. And she began to find release and help and hope as a result of meeting with that community that were able to reunite her with those that could take care of her, take her out of the situation she was in. I could tell you also about a community in Rentobo in Uganda that had no hospital, and therefore if the families or children had health needs, they really had no hope. And even if they could travel to a hospital, they couldn't afford to pay for it. But through the generosity of some people, a hospital, a clinic was opened to provide full medical care to people there and to give them hope and enable them to access medical care. I could tell you stories of Ethiopia where similar things have happened, and in other parts of the world as well. Why am I telling you this, and what has it got in common? Well, they all in some shape or form have been supported by the community that I'm a part of, and Neil is as well, called Tonbridge Baptist Church. We don't do this because we want to feel good about ourselves, but we help these communities because we believe in a God who loves us, and a God who says to us, you matter because you're made in my image. And the implications of that are quite significant. It means that we have value. Everybody has value. And we try and communicate that to people whenever we get the opportunity, whether it's people here in TN10 or whether it's people in Europe or in Africa or other parts of the world. And in a small way, to help people understand that they are loved by God, they are valued, and they mean something. In a world that perhaps dehumanizes people, we're able to bring hope. Maybe as you watch me today, you're thinking about the news and what's going on, and you're thinking, I'm not sure that this winter is going to be really good. I think I'm beginning to worry about things. I'd love to recommend to you that you get to know this God who values you so much and who wants to love you and wants to change your life and to give you meaning. Pop along to us here at TBC at any time, and we'd be love to explain more about this Jesus who has changed so many lives here and in Europe and in other parts of the world. This Jesus we're passionate about, because to him we matter, and that means you matter too.